Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Brianna and I've been making a variety of content for the last few years and a variety of content for sure in 2022. I typically hate when, well, I can't say hate, but I find annoying when YouTubers are like, I'm sorry I've been missing, I took a break, because usually by the time I've watched the video, there's, this is so far in the past, it's like it's not even worth addressing an absence because a lot of people won't even know you would have been absent. But in this case, I think that addressing my absence plays into the content of this video. I was making a lot of content, well, a lot for me, content about just my take on situations that were going on in the zeitgeist. And I just simply no longer had anything to say. I could not think of anything to say at all. So I just, got out of the habit of YouTube. I was like, I have so much free time. I can clean my house and so forth and so on, because I'm not making videos and preparing for videos and editing videos. But I'm back this week because I kind of had a breakthrough. My channel right now is called Brianna Entrepreneur because I started it wanting to document the process of becoming a successful entrepreneur. We have so many stories out there about successful people telling their story after they've become successful, but I felt like me telling my story in the moment would be more valuable than after I became successful, if I said that clear. Because when you have already made it, some of the stuff that feels really hard in the moment is no longer, it becomes more one-dimensional. It's not as, you can't talk about it in as relatable of a way or in as vivid of a recollection than when you're going, as you can when you're actually going through it. So I had a breakthrough in my entrepreneurship. I started a group on Facebook. It's called Moms with Ambition. It's for moms who want to achieve more, and I really made it for stay-at-home moms, but there are, all sorts of moms or women in the group. It's for moms who don't have the momentum of a career to help them achieve goals, and moms who might feel like them achieving their goals doesn't matter. For me, it feels like there's no consequence if I don't do things, so a lot of times I just don't. So I wanted to make a group so that we can keep each other motivated and keep a conversation going that the members can come back to help them reorient themselves toward their goals. So I made this group. Each Monday I post a goal call so that people can write their goals. I think it's important to keep articulating your goal, revisiting it, revising it, so you can stay on track and stay focused. And like when you're not focused, you have that reminder that, hey, there's something I want to achieve and my actions aren't contributing to me achieving that. Well, this week I was writing the caption the day before and I was saying, I'm really tired of doing this and I'm tired of my goal. So I think I'm going to switch to a different goal and just take a break and revisit it later. But as I was writing that, I started to think, maybe I'm not supposed to do that. Maybe that's the problem here. I feel like I've been working hard for 4 years. And while I did make some money in 2021, I finally made like a decent amount of money, which is still not much at all. I ultimately feel like I haven't really gotten anywhere. And I just wondered, maybe it's because I keep changing my goal. I work and work, and then as soon as my feelings wane or I get this like feeling of disinterest or this isn't right for me, then I just move on to another goal, work, move on, work. So it's, when people say things like, it seems like you've done a lot of things or you dabbled in a lot of things, I tend to feel a little bit offended by that. But I know they're not being judgmental by saying it. I'm just projecting because I feel that a lot of times when you would describe someone like that, you mean they can't stick with anything, they're afraid of hard work, and that's not how I view myself. But it's true. I have been doing a lot of different things because I abandon my goals. And even if I'm working hard, if you don't stick to something, you can't really get anywhere. So I realized that. I reached out to somebody on Facebook who seemed successful to me, and I asked, if you had a goal that no longer seemed appropriate for you, would you just push through the goal, or do you switch goals? She didn't answer my question, and I think it's because she doesn't have that problem. I don't think that's a problem a bunch of people have. Now, I've said that, but the reason I'm sharing this story is because I have gotten so much clarity this week that I feel like if anyone can relate to this, it can also change their life. You might not have the exact same scenario as me, but you might be searching for something that's not outside of you that can help bring clarity to your process of trying to become successful. So I realized she doesn't have this problem. And also, just in the time I was talking to her, I realized like I'm not supposed to be quitting. So I thought about it more. I knew I was gonna have to meditate and pray and so forth. And I realized I'm self-sabotaging. So the question became, okay, why do I self-sabotage? Before I had that answer, I felt pretty ashamed because I've been doing this to myself. I have been suffering and struggling so much. There have been so many times that I've been praying and just asking God and meditating and asking my spirit team, like, what am I supposed to be doing? What is the secret? Tell me, how do I figure this out? What am I supposed to be doing? Why is it so hard? So I'm embarrassed, or I'm ashamed that I've suffered so much because I haven't pursued anything. I haven't stuck with anything that might have turned out to be the thing that I'm looking for. I always describe it as, I feel like I'm trying, like this is the interstate and I'm over here on an access road driving right along the interstate, but can never get on it. I just couldn't see, how do people get into a position where they can just make money? How do people come into these businesses that they can stick with and they can grow? How do people how do people have so many opportunities and possibility, and I just don't? My problem has been that I will start doing something and then it'll just feel like this isn't right for you. This isn't right for you, or this is not the right time. Sometimes I think of that when it's a new idea. I usually think it's not the right time, but when I'm working on an idea, I will eventually feel like it's not right for you, or I'll just lose interest. So the goal that made me start the group was getting an essay published in an online publication or a magazine, which is certainly something that's up my alley. I read a book about it, and in the book, reading the book, I'm like, I can do this. I should be able to make money doing this. And I just simply, it doesn't invigorate me anymore. So I wanted to move on. And in the scheme of what I'm saying, what if my key or my path is you're going to write this essay and write another essay and another essay, and then you will have a book deal, and then you will become this person known for this thing, and this is how you'll make your livelihood. Like, that could be it, but I'm just simply walking away from the goal. And so I felt ashamed of how much I have caused my own suffering. And I felt embarrassed because I feel like people could have seen this in me. What I've been so offended by, I've had a few friends and family who are very much non-supportive and they don't take me seriously, even though I feel like they see that I'm working hard and trying. And they've hurt my feelings a lot. And I felt embarrassed because I kind of felt like, okay, well, they were right. They were right. Well, let's take it to the next step. That was Monday. So Monday, I just was letting these feelings of, I don't want to say self-hate, but like just kind of being mad at myself. I was just kind of like letting it wash over me and accepting it, because there's no use in me acting like I just felt like it was important for me to feel that. That morning, I went to the gym early that morning with the question, why have I done this? Once I finally named it as self-sabotage, I started looking that up. Looking into that. So I found some videos, which I'll link below, that helped me explore self-sabotage and where it comes from. I ultimately got to the question, what am I afraid of? Why am I self-sabotaging? Because, well, what is the fear that is causing me to self-sabotage? Because that's where it usually comes from. What are you trying to avoid? And I had looked at a video by Teal Swan called Fragmentation, a Worldwide Disease. And she talks about how we really have like these different personalities that aren't just trying to bring us down, but are stuck in like a certain reality. And so the reality that I learned, the personality that is keeping me from my goals is likely my 22-year-old self, who had just finished her 8-year track and field career and was unsatisfied and so heartbroken that she doesn't want me at 33 to experience that again. So when these things come up, she just says, you know what, maybe this isn't really for you. And I think the key to that is, when I was really hurt after college, I had to like distance myself from the sport and just kind of like stop the hurt, but I never really processed the hurt because I didn't have the capacity, to be honest, at that age. But I eventually was able to see that I was a hammer thrower. I was able to see that at 5'5", 155 pounds, I did as good as I could possibly do. And my teammates were all like the right height and weight for being throwers, so they had more potential than I did. And I was able to accept that. So I think the way she interferes now, or has been interfering, is she's saying like, you weren't really discriminating enough about what to put your hope in back then, but you need to be more discriminating now. So like, do you really think that you want to have this business? Do you think you really, like, I think you should feel more sure. And I think that you're eventually going to give up on this and you'll have put so much time in it. So this isn't really for you, or this isn't the right time. You don't know enough. I really think that's what she's been doing, because she's trying to protect me from what she experienced. I like that theory because it is a compassionate theory, and it also speaks to the fact that we need to heal those other personalities. So Monday, when my husband got home, he was home super late for some reason. Well, it's because it doesn't matter, but he got home from work late. And we were sitting there and I was telling him what I had discovered. And I was telling him like how much it hurt me not to make it to the regional meet in track and field after my senior year. While talking about it, I just had to stop and cry, like really cry, like a very fresh cry. I think that just like what I kept thinking about was, after my last track meet, I didn't make it into the regional meet. I went to my coach's office and just kind of like to see him for the last time I was going to move out of town. And I mean, I've seen him since, but like, I don't know, just kind of like to see him and to kind of say goodbye. And I feel like I was wearing a pink dress, and I go in there and I was, you know, I don't really know what I said, but I think I expressed that I was disappointed that I didn't make the list, because what happens, or used to happen, is I think they had like a distance you had to make, or a time to make it to the regional meet, or like maybe you need to be top 75 or something in your region, something like that. But after all the track meets were done, some people would scratch themselves from the event so that they could focus on a different event they qualified in. So that had happened. All the scratches were made and I still didn't get in, but this kid who just walked on for the javelin, he was a 5th year, walked on to the track team. He made it, and I just felt like, I had been a thrower since I was in 8th grade. So I do high school, and I was an elite athlete pretty much since I was 16. I made it to the state track meet. My senior year, I was like seeded first in the track meet, but I didn't end up I ended up choking that year, and I just kind of always thought I would be redeemed. And my goal going into college was to be a nationally competitive shot putter, so I wasn't doing hammer, and to make it to the trials, which I think is a lot of people's goals. And so, it's not over till it's over, and I think it was over and I didn't achieve that. I think that was the first time I put so much into something. I mean, I obviously I wasn't that old. I put so much into something and didn't get out of it what I expected. At any rate, I still had a great career. I was conference champion multiple times. I held a record in the hammer throw for a while, and I went to college for free. So it was good, but I just remember going into his office and just being disappointed and crying. I remember the crying and just, being vulnerable with him and being so sad. And he said, I'm proud of you, Bree. You had a great career. This makes me sad now. He encouraged me because I was a good athlete, and he appreciated me being one of his athletes. But I don't think that I've really been strong enough to go back and grieve that. It wasn't just like, oh, I didn't make it to the regional meet. I don't really care about the regional meet right now. It's just like about the hurt that I experienced at that time and not knowing what to do with it. And I guess like just feeling ashamed too that my teammates made it and I didn't make it. And I had a whole lot of feelings about a lot of things. It wasn't just a track meet. It was the loss of my identity being an athlete 4 years of college. I was moving. I was no longer a college student. I was losing my relationship with my coach, which I was oddly very emotional about this week as well, because I didn't have my dad. My dad wasn't a consistent part of my life, but my coach was. And while we didn't really have an intimate relationship, it was a consistent relationship, and I could be vulnerable with him and he could be casual with me, and he could praise us and also correct us. So I think I was gonna miss that too. But that was a lot to deal with all at once, and I didn't really deal with it. So I think that person, that 22-year-old, has still been in here hurt, and I needed to give her breath and grieve her and say, you know what, it really does suck that you experienced that, and you should be sad, and I'm sad for you. You don't have to be afraid of that, because you can get through that. But I never got through it. I just forgot about it. So since I took the time to acknowledge and grieve that, I have had so much clarity about my life. And I realized while I've been looking for some magic key this whole time, it's always been there. I just could not see it, because now that I'm looking, like with this new awareness, I'm looking at all these opportunities and seeing that the reason it never feels right is not real. It's like a facade. And so knowing that, I'm looking at things like, this is actually a possibility for me. The reason, or the fact that I felt like it wasn't right for me was not true. It was a false feeling. So I could do this. I could do this. And I'm understanding why it seems so easy for other people to make money, other people to be successful, because they don't have like this mind this haze over everything. There's not like this mind game happening. I mean, I know that we have it in other ways, but in this specific way, I can understand why my brother was like, why can't you just pick a career and like go to school and do it? Because there wasn't like this other entity whispering in his ear the whole time that this is not going to work out for you. You're going to fail. It needs to be something more special. It needs to be, no, this isn't it. So I'm looking at my friends, you know, my former business partner, very successful, just moved to a bigger salon, which she owns. And I'm like, okay, I see how she did it. Like, when there's not like a built-in confusion factor or distortion factor, it's just a matter of doing the work and like having a self-esteem and so forth and so on. It's just a matter of that, like working through that, figuring out how to do it, doing the work. And I can do that. So I'm feeling really optimistic. This Saturday, I'm going to get certified in microblading so that I can do microbladed eyebrows, which is a semi-permanent makeup or semi-permanent brow makeup. And I originally was just going to do it. I've been talking to this girl for like 7 months. And I was originally going to do it just so that I could do my eyebrows and my mom's, because I was like, I kind of don't want to pay another person $600 to permanently draw my eyebrows. That just seems insane. Because I'm really good at eyebrows. I always have been. It's always been my thing. So when I heard about microblading and realized I didn't have to be an esthetician to do it, I was like, I would be really great at this. But something was just telling me, but it's not for you. This isn't what you need to be doing. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to build a business. The childcare is a barrier right now, but I will cross that bridge when I get to it. And we'll see, maybe this is the start of me actually being a successful entrepreneur. Everything just seems possible. And I'm looking back on other things. I'm like, so was it real? Like, should I have walked away from my business or not? But I can't, you know, dwell on the past. I just have to go forward and know that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. The last thing I'll share, if you even made it to this part of the video, the last thing I'll share is this past weekend I did do this manifestation technique. As I've like distanced myself from religion in that like I'm deprogramming myself, I don't really have a lot of feelings about like manifestation and law of attraction and stuff. I am understanding that there are laws of the universe that just are. They're not religious or non-religious. That's just like, regardless of if you subscribe to it, they're still happening. So I've been interested in doing more deliberate work instead of like, I'm not trying to replace God with the law of attraction, but I think before I deprogrammed myself, it was hard not to kind of do that. But anyway, so I was like, well, let me try some of these things to see if I can get some results. So I did something called 5 by 55, which is for 5 days, you have to write 55 times the affirmation. And my affirmation was, I am so grateful for extreme clarity about my path. And I kept almost writing goal. A few times I did write goals, so I had to like write the whole line over. So I'm doing this, and by day 4 is when I had the realization about abandoning my goals. There might be something that's even more clear that's to come, but I don't know. I feel like I manifested this realization. So that's a technique for you and some encouragement. Okay, so that's all I have to say. I will resume my goal of getting monetized on YouTube and make more content. I ran out of things to say because I think that 22-year-old me was like, girl, don't you put more investment into this because you're gonna be disappointed. But we've healed her, we've grieved her and hugged her and sent her on her way, and now we're gonna start achieving some goals. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you like me, please subscribe to my channel. and join me on this new journey of becoming successful without being sabotaged. Doesn't that sound fun? It sounds fun to me. At any rate, I will see you on the next video.